Dangerous. This game currently retails for $29.99 on the PlayStation Network. The stores, however, like GameStop, do not sell the $29.99 version of the game. They only sell the $60 version, which is the Commander Edition, which gives you the Season Pass and some other content. And I think you get the 2.0, where you can actually have a roamer and land on some planets and roam around. Not every planet, but a lot of them. I'm playing the digital version of $29.99. I picked it up. It's about 16 gig total download. A little over 2 gigs for the Start application, which allows you to do nothing. So just let the whole thing download. If you want, that's how that goes. And you'll have to link your account with the servers over at these elite guys, and once you do that, you're good to go once it's fully downloaded. Now, I started playing this game at 9:30 Eastern Standard Time. It's 1:21 now. I took a break. I stopped playing about 1 o'clock. I want to point out that I'm a big fan of spacing sims. On the last gen consoles, in particular, the only one that I was even remotely aware of was Darkstar 1, Broken Alliance, which I put about 400 hours into that game, and just enjoyed it for all of its simplicity. That beside of it, I just liked the fact it had a real-time economy. I liked the fact that it had an almost cartoonish nature about it. It had amazing soundtrack and really easy pick-up-and-play controls. Not difficult at all to play. Having said all that, now let me go into the options. Might want to turn the audio down just a hair, just to make sure that the game background's not getting all crazy with the. We'll go down. Let's see here if we can adjust this. Yeah, we can adjust that down. We'll adjust music down, just a hair. Adjust the ship voice volume. And that down, and wave scanner volume down, and cancel that. You gotta go down to apply. Anyway, so hello Pam. So I want to talk a little bit about this game because, as a fan of Darkstar 1, which has simplistic controls as far as it plays kind of like a first-person shooter in space, and of course in this gen we have like No Man's Sky, which does have a weird control scheme, but you get used to it. Didn't take me too long to acclimate to it. The ships are very easy to control. There's a lot of hand-holding in that. And then, of course, Rebel Galaxy, which, again, your ship's on a 2D plane, everything else is 3D. It's, again, simple controls, really fun spacing sim. You can merchant and pirate, and all that stuff that comes with those spacing sims, even when you played Freelancer back in the day. And I can even go further back and look at other, games that had a spacing sim kind of nature and really enjoyed those all the way back to the day of Star Raiders, on the Atari, and then Star Voyager on the NES, and I've always been a fan of those type of games. And I knew Elite Dangerous was a PC title, and when I seen it was being ported, I was really excited for it because I'd heard nothing but good and praise about this game. And the thing is, I want to say that after playing it for 3 hours, and I want to say that this game has a very, very steep learning curve, number one. The controls, while somewhat intuitive, there's really no easy way around it to explain how, left to right on your thrusters is your right stick. It's not a camera. Your actual free camera is the controller. When you click in the right stick button, you can look around your ship, but it sometimes is a little jarring, so I only do it when I want to look at something like a star or a planet that I'm passing by to check it out. And the rest of the time is up and down is classic, flight stick controls, but left and right on the left sticks is where you roll. It's very difficult in the way that it's designed, because roll and pitch and all that is all on one stick. And so let's say you're wanting to turn left and do like a cool, like fast kind of like turn. It takes a while to get used to it. I recommend turning the sensitivity of it down some, especially controllers. I think if this was mouse driven, keyboard driven, or even flight stick driven, it would be a lot easier to play. But I think with the controller, it's a little sensitive, and I want to say that it took me a while to get the hang of that. There's some other things the game does that's a little crazy. Let me just click the stick. Let me show you what I'm talking about. See, I can look around, and I'm looking, but I'm actually, I'm actually looking with the controller by moving the controller around, and that's how you do that. When you hit it still, though, and you start moving it around, and it's just easier to keep it locked at times. It is cool that they do have the full cockpit view. There is several camera options to see the ship outside, but they're not really. It's not really easy to play that way because as the ship is, like, if you do a back view, your ship is, it's really close to the ship, so you can't see your surroundings. There's this really cool view where you're like, it's like you're standing beside, like, to the left and behind your pilot, and you can see from that point of view. It's actually really cool, although not, again, easiest way to play, but it's really cool to see that. I like that concept. A lot of the buttons have multi-functions too, so like if I hit like triangle, this gives me ship toggle, cargo scoop out if I want to like capture something. There's a ship lights. If I want to turn the ship lights on, I can. So that's kind of neat. If you hold down X, you get, that's your basically sensor zoom, cycle next target, and all that. And then of course you hold down your square. You got comms panel, systems panel, target panel, sensor panel. And you get up to triangle is where you get your hyperspace, super cruise, open system, or galaxy map. These are little shortcuts. You also have silent running, which kind of shuts down all your systems and makes it to where if you're trying to kind of, I guess, hide, be quiet, or make sure you're trying to pass by unnoticed by hostiles, that's actually kind of fun and cool to use. Down here at the bottom you see system, engine, and weapons. You can actually use the D-pad while you're flying around to put more power to engines or weapons or systems, or RST, which kind of balances them out. I've had not too much use for it, but it is kind of nice that it's available. But the game has a very, very high learning curve as far as what you can and cannot do. I recommend totally doing the first tutorial missions, because the second one in particular really teaches you the differences between when you're warping through space using hyperspace or using super cruise, which is basically impulse speed. And there is some problems when you're playing the game. And after playing for 3 hours and finally being able to complete just one mission to gain some money, I was like, wow. I had to self-destruct several times just because, and start over. You always get a free ship if you start over or die. That's kind of nice. But let me go ahead and do this return to surface. I'm going to get back out here in space to show you some things. And show you, and it is the size, the game's world is the size of the Milky Way, our galaxy. It is a 1-to-1 comparison size, which means it is the size of the Milky Way. I'm at this terminal. I'm not inside a big base, but if I hit launch, you hit up to leave the base. Obviously, you're leaving the station, and you got to hold down square and that to make your landing gear retract so that you can go faster, because without it you can't. You're actually mass locked until you get 5 kilometers out from any station you're at, so that you know, like, which will allow you to go to super cruise or warp, but you have to be 5 kilometers away because you're mass locked. Again, I can look around. This is just space where I'm at. There's a nebula back there, or you can hit the pad respectively. This shows your status with combat rank, what you're doing, your penniless, your trade rank, what you're doing, your different factions, because you build those up. And like any good sim, it lets you do all that stuff. It lets you check out your inventory, your different functions, what you want to do. Over here is like your navigation, transaction, contact. Excuse me for the sneeze. There is a dormant bounty. I don't really care about that. I couldn't even do it if I want to. Now, before I get into, let me show you the excuse me, let me show you the system map, which will take a second to load in, so you kind of see a little bit about how this game operates. So you're seeing here, these are your two suns. It's a binary world system. They're red dwarfs. Your asteroid field, which again you can plot to any of these. This is the main sun. These are two red dwarfs. This is where I'm at now. This is one of the planets I can get to if I want to travel there. For example, so if I can zoom in, and having been able to zoom in is kind of nice. You can kind of see if there's something on a base, whose allegiance it's to, who they belong to. It's kind of a nice little thing. So if I wanted to, let's say, navigate there. Okay, so I've got that going on. Now let me look at the galaxy map. I want you to see this. This is insane. So again, it's a 1-to-1 scale. This is the general area I'm in. But if I scale all the way out, yeah, that's our Milky Way, folks. You can get to Earth. Sagittarius A is a supermassive black hole, middle of our solar system. Yes, you can visit that too. But like I said, a lot of times I will stop pretty much down to nothing, especially if I've done a navigation point. Because sometimes you'll click on something and like, hey, I want to navigate to wherever this place is that I decided to go to. Because even the and you'll look around and you're going like, okay, so where's my target? Again, it can be disoriented because you don't have. There's kind of where I'm at. That's a planet. If I want to just go and hang out there, there's a lot of things you got to take in account for too. If you're near a sun, you'll get locked into this gravitational field and you'll take damage from the heat and gravity and whatnot. So you got to make sure you get out of there because you can't do much of anything otherwise. But let me do this real quick because I want to show you some of the things. How you actually go about navigating and doing things. So let me say I want to go, let's go back here to this world and plot a course. If you can plot a course, it will let you. Sometimes it won't, and sometimes it will. It just depends on, like, it tries to plot like the best route for you to go. It doesn't always, like, boom. So it actually found a safe point. So I'm going to do this, and I'm going to click over here. Now, you are no longer mass locked. I'm going to speed up, because you got to be going at a pretty good speed before you can actually hit hyperspace. Now, there's a couple of different things between hyperspace and super cruise. When you're in a hyperspace mode, you can warp to wherever. But if you want to get to, let's say, a place to land or whatever, you actually have to go into super cruise mode, but it's kind of this weird warping effect too. So like, you have to be within certain distance and certain speeds in order to get to that place. You can overshoot real easily, and if you overshoot, it'll tell you're going too fast, and double tap triangle, it'll say safe mode exit, and you do it, but you actually start flying around for a second, and you actually take ship damage. It's not really safe. I don't get that at all. So you kind of have to like really pay attention to what you're doing here. So I'm going to hit the triangle button, which is going to charge my jump thing. This takes a few seconds to charge. It's not instantaneous like most of these other games. It takes a second. It charges us up, and you're going to warp. You're going to see that now. Here we go. It's a nice effect. I can look around, see how the stars and everything's warping. Now this does have a tendency to warp when you come out of warp to the star system, to put you kind of close to the star. So the first thing you got to do is immediately hit the deacceleration, or it'll keep you going forward momentum, and you'll get close to that sun, and you're just pretty much screwed at this point. So, and again, the graphics. I mean, look at this. Look at the way the sun looks. It's like, I mean, it's so well designed with its. I mean, look at that. You can see like just the corona and all that. It's an amazing looking game. And again, this is one of those times where it's cool to kind of look around with your headgear. So over here, I'm plotting another course. So you do have to give yourself time. So I'm trying to get back to this next place, so it's charging. I'm actually in cruise mode, so we're going to go ahead and warp to the next point because I'm trying to get back to kind of where I was before. When you see those lines on the side, that means you're in super cruise mode, just to kind of throw that out there. You do have fuel that you can consume. You do have to buy. I do have to throttle up. I forgot. I always forget to do that. The game is a very slow grind. It's a slow burn when you start the game, and it just starts you off. There's no particular like place you need to be or rhyme or reason. You just have to fucking do it. Like, you just kind of go and do your thing. Again, had to slow down there. You know, that happens. So I've probably been here, so I might be able to find like the best thing to do. The best thing to do is just to hit your system map. You can do it that way or the quick. I always forget about the quick way of doing it, and see if there's a base here. And I'm going to do that now, and there is, which is good. This is Dalton Gateway. You know, let me zoom in here. There's like a little station, Dalton Gateway, which I think is a place I can go and land at. So we're going to do that. Now, having said all that, you got to kind of figure out where the target is, because sometimes it can be kind of a pain to try to discover where the station's at. Usually you can tell right here, the little dot that's up from your map, and there you go. So now I'm here, Dalton Gateway. It's a big space station. This is me going into this is me in Super Cruise. Now you'll notice, let me speed up. Well, actually it took me out for some reason. Again, sometimes it just does weird things like that. It'll take you out. I'm going to charge the Super Cruise, and it's going to try to get me closer. Right, currently I'm 1 year out. But this is how you get into like the faster, it's basically impulse speed. Now, you're going to increase your speed exponentially. As you'll see it down here at the bottom, as it says 0.657, and you see it rising, because you're going to have to travel here. Now, you can't really warp because you're too close, but what you have to do is you got to watch on the left side here the distance meter and the speed. Once it reaches those two little blue marks and that speed reaches blue, the thing is that you're going to keep speeding up and speeding up and speeding up, and it's going to slowly slow down. And then it's going to tell you that it's okay at the bottom to jump out of that. If you don't jump out there, you're going to overshoot it. You're going to turn back around. It's kind of a pain in the ass. Now, some of the things that the game doesn't do, and they just don't hold your hand. They don't tell you a whole lot. Now, I played for 3 hours and only did one mission. I could only complete one. And you probably ask yourself, Juice Man, how can you just only complete one mission? Well, the thing is that the game does not tell you a whole lot when you pick missions. You might pick a mission that says it's 15 light years away, and you got to go deliver, 3 things or something, because my cargo space, if I go over here, and I just want to show you, you have inventory. I have a capacity of 4. I can carry 1,000 materials. I can carry 500 things of data. That's what that's designed to do. I have no cabins on board because there's people who just want you to take them somewhere. I have no cabins. Sorry about your luck. You can buy them, I guess. I don't think my ship can equip them. They might be able to. They give you the cheapest, lowest, crummiest ship in the game to begin with. So that's how it is. But the thing is, and of course you're able to name your ship. I named mine a Scarlet Red. There is a way to paint them and do cool things like that. All that costs real money. It's a total bunch of bullshit that they're even charging real money for this. This was a Kickstarter game that not only got enough money to make a $60 version of the game plus DLC, it has microtransactions, and you have to buy paint jobs and stuff. These people who made this are the greediest bastards for doing that. But there you have it. There ain't a whole lot I can do about it. You're just doing what you got to do. But my point is, I did a bunch of different. I picked one mission, and even though it was only like 16.74 light years away, it would not let me warp. It said exceed your current whatever, blah blah blah. It kept giving me this error message. I could go into Super Cruise, but it literally would have took like a day and a half to get there in real time. I'm like, that's ridiculous. So I couldn't do nothing about the mission. If I abandoned it, like, I have to pay a fine. I only had you only start you off with 1,000 credits. It's like nothing in this game. And then I had to, I was stuck. I was literally stuck in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of deep space, too far to go back, too far to go forward. I had to self-destruct, start over from the beginning, start again. And I did this. I found so many times where there's so many missions, and they don't really tell you, when you look at the mission structure, and many of them you can accept, but it doesn't even really say, some of them say you don't have the requirements, but many of them don't. So you might accept something and you can't take it. And then if you abandon it, sometimes they get hostile with you because you did that. It's kind of like, it would have been nice if the developer said, these missions you can accept, and anything else, it should just, instead of allowing you to accept it, it should say, you are currently, like, it should just give you, like, a thing. It won't let you accept it. You are not at a level where your ship's not here in order for you to accept said mission. But they don't do that. They expect you to know things on your own, and I think it's kind of a shame. Stuff like this kind of sucks because I can see where maybe down the road I'll get a better ship and this will be much faster process, but this is a very slow grind game. It does not hold your hand. They don't teach you shit. You have to figure all this stuff out. When I finally earned some money, but it took 3 hours because I finally found a mission that I could plot a safe course, because sometimes you can't plot a course, which means you kind of got to figure it out, especially if it's far enough away, and that's kind of a pain in the ass. And I finally earned some money in the damn game, but it was really kind of difficult, because I sat there and asked myself, like, why am I like, let me do this real quick. I'm gonna go to the comms. This is your comms panel, by the way. You can, like, send messages to people, multi-crew, join another ship. That's Horizons only. If there's anybody locally, you might find them. This is like mail you might get. This is like contacts I've met. These are players that have flown by me, or they've flown by me, or I've flown by them, and you can, like, speak to them and maybe team up and do things. It's kind of neat. You can turn on the voice channels and do all that stuff. By the way, I want to say that the music of this game is amazing. It is really, really, really good. Now, I'm showing you here, you see as my speed is slowly decreasing because I'm getting closer. Now, even though this seems like it's, like, really far away, when you drop out of subspace, or you drop out of that Super Cruise mode, or that, you actually, it'll stop, and then boom, and all of a sudden, wham, real close, there's your space station or destination, because there's a difference between warp drive and the other one. But the game is difficult. It's a very difficult game, and I'm not talking about combat per se. It's just difficult, because I took this one mission, and all it was just simply a courier job. It paid fairly well. There was no danger of threats, but the place where I went was this white dwarf, and the white dwarf looked amazing. It was real bright, and it didn't warp me anywhere near it, and it had these blue, like, streaks of, like, gamma radiation coming off of it, and it just looked amazing. I was like, wow. But the station was close to it and was highly shielded against that, but my ship couldn't do it. I exhausted my fuel, my resources. I was like, fuck, just getting there. And it was an easy mission, and yet I couldn't get to the station because my ship couldn't get anywhere near it without, like, overheating and just radiation and all this stuff. And once again, I was stuck there in the system. Nothing I could do. It was literally the only station in the entire system. No other place I could go. Nowhere close. I had to self-destruct and start over again. In a way, it's almost like this is the Dark Souls of spacing sims. I died by mistake because the game tells you nothing on how to do anything, and you're kind of left to figure everything out on your own. So in a way, I was like, I really liked it, but in a way it was also frustrating, because I thought, wow, at times, like, listening to this music that just really encapsulated the wonder and isolation and all of space. The music is so good in this game, by the way. But then, then it's to be let down several times, like fighting the controls on how to land. If you go to land somewhere, sometimes it's a pad and they want you to face a certain direction before it lets you land. You're like, really? Do I have to face a certain direction? And again, no hand holding in this game. It's a remarkable game, by the way. Oh, all those orbiting lines you see here, you don't have to have those on. You can actually turn them off. I leave them on because they're good markers, but if you turn them off, it's much more like a HUD-less experience, and so it's pretty neat. You know, again, looking around in space, it's cool. I'm just trying to get here, but again, as you see, I'm slowly slowing down, and I'm trying to get to that distance so that when I do come out of space, I won't overshoot this. I did this so many times where I overshot, not understanding, wait a minute, I'm right up on it. It kept telling me to slow down. I slow down, and I overshot, jumped out of the thing, just damaged my hull. I was like, why am I doing this? Like, why do I keep like damaging stuff and doing stuff? This is ridiculous. There should be a little meter popping up over here at the side on distance to let me know, hey, getting kind of close there, buddy. But it's not really showing up, which is kind of crazy to me. But let's see here. But usually down here at the bottom, you will get a little, hey, it's safe to drop out of that mode, so that you can, like, you know, slow down. See, I gotta slow down now. Slow down. See, it'll tell you to slow down. You gotta bring that down, and it's not an instant slowdown. Just because you decelerate, it takes a minute to decelerate. So the thing is, you gotta watch that meter on the side on the top that says distance. When it reaches blue, that's when you should drop out. If you drop out too soon, I know it seems like you're close. It'll zoom right back out, and you might be 4 days away. Because Super Cruise, like Impulse, it's fast. It's like super fast, and it's faster than you think, and it also kind of warps space a little bit. So you have to keep that in mind. That's a very important thing to keep in mind. I could probably speed up. If you put your meter, you see down there with your speed increasing, if it's in the blue, by the way, if it's in the blue, that's your optimal speed. If that little meter stays in that blue mark, that's when you're super maneuverable. That's when you can actually, like, you know, that's your most maneuverable. I'm gonna go ahead and slow down a little bit here. Slow it up. I gotta get to this gate, this Dalton Gateway. See, and it looks like it is a station I can land on. And it's so cool to see, like, they're around planets. Everything seemed like so close when it really isn't. So you're just, again, this is one of those games that you have to be very patient with, and your HUD is incredibly important. It's just really important to understand your HUD, and that's what I like about. I mean, in a way, it's kind of frustrating because I'm used to playing. Let me pause it. I'm used to playing, you know, No Man's Sky. Or I'm used to playing where you just boom, go, boom, it takes you there. It's real easy. It's almost like you can't fuck it up. Like you play a Darkstar 1, and hey, I'm gonna warp here. Boom, you're in the system. Hit forward on the time lapse, and the time lapse on there is essentially like impulse speed, and you're there. It's not possible to screw it up. You can't screw up No Man's Sky. You can't screw up Darkstar 1. You can't screw up any of those games. You can't. Rebel Galaxy, easy. Boom, warp, you're there. Boom, you know, go up front, dock. It's like the easiest stuff you can possibly do. This game's like, no, we're putting a really added realism into it, and that's something that I had to, like, you know, I had to really think about. Like, that's crazy, you know. Look at that. Look at the. That's cool, man. It's very cool. Like, looking, you got this, you know. All right, here. I'm not there just yet, but I'm getting there. Station. I'm gonna go up a little bit in speed here. Try to get it to get a little closer. I better stop. I almost need to come to a stop because I'm not seeing the station. It should be here. I mean, it looks like I'm on top of it, but maybe I'm not. Go ahead and speed it up. I try to get a little faster here. Get close to I don't know why I haven't seen the station or what's going on here. I better slow down. I'm actually going to come out of Super Cruise. Of course, again, see what I mean? Safe exit. It said I was going too fast, even though I was actually going very slow. I gotta see if I can find this station and figure out what. I mean, I don't think it. See, and again, see, like it kind of vanished, and even though it was slowing down, I very much like overshot. Like I overshot by 3.4 days. I mean, that's insane to me. And you gotta wait for it to cool down. I'm gonna have to do it all over again. See, that's when there's a comet going by. That's very cool. It's very, very like frustrating when that happens because I was dead on the money. I was going real slow. You saw the station and it just kind of vanished. It's like, where'd it go? It didn't tell me. It didn't give me the thing down at the bottom that says, "Hey, you can come out now safely, and you should, slow down and you'll be able to see the station." But yet. I was drinking a beer there, and yet, now I've got to do it all over again. Like, and clearly, as you can see, I was dead. I was right on the money to get there, and it just kind of, slow. Gotta slow down. I almost. See what I mean? See how fast you could overshoot that? I damn near, when it told me to slow down, I was so close to overshooting it. I was so close. You have to be like literally Johnny on the spot with this. If you are not like this game there's no margin for error. If you are not exactly the speed that they want you to be and need you to be, you're fucked. You're gonna overshoot it. You're gonna undershoot it where you don't get close enough. You got to do it all over again. It's very, very something. I love that. Look at that comet flying by. That's so cool. It's just one of those things. You have to be really, really particular. It will tell you at the bottom. But you gotta wait, though. You gotta wait. See, disengage is ready. So, turn off Super Cruise. Should let me turn it off. For some reason, there it is. Boom. It's like, holy cow, just like I said, it just boom, all of a sudden, there's this big fucking space station. You're like, holy shit, out of left field. Now you're into your normal speed. You're going to have to park inside there, your little blue meter there in the middle. That's where you're going to have to go. So you're going to have to contact them. Dalton Gateway. Press docking. Now I got to go to landing pad 29. 29 is going to be inside the station, by the way. This is where it gets real tricky. I had such a hard time, because the station's rotating, and you kind of have to do your thing. And so, what I usually do is I get pretty close to it, and then you got to kind of rotate yourself in a way to orientate. And what I'll do, I'll show you here. So I'm going to slow down, slow it down. I'm going to go ahead and drop the landing gear, because when you drop your landing gear, your ship gets more inertia. So you kind of have to look at this game and be real careful when you're docking. I mean, you got to do this all in real time. It's crazy. Okay, so I'm inside now. They want me to go docking bay 39. The best thing to do is to kind of slow down. It's really cool, by the way. I still think this is cool. Oh, it's 29 I need to go to. That's 39. That says 29. There it is. Let's go a little faster to get over there. Landing you have to do manually. Some games, you just do it. In, Darkstar 1, you actually could buy a landing computer. It would just automatically, here, stop. Slow to crawl, get it down. Here we go. You want to what I usually to do is drop down a little bit. This is see the two arrows? They're very vaguely seen already on the map there where your ship is in the middle. That's the way they want you to be. They want you to land that way, and they want you to land a very specific way. And if you don't land that way, see, this is where the camera throws me off. I'm like, what am I doing here? What am I doing? I gotta turn the ship around. Then you gotta make sure you're at 0. Make sure you're exactly the way the arrows want you to face. Again, okay, now I got to speed up to get back into the zone. And you'll see it turn blue. Go back down to 0. Oh, went to, see what I mean? You can, there's just no marker, barely hitting the thrust up. Like does that, so then you gotta land. Kind of a shitty landing, but there you go. And that's how you gotta do it. And the game is like cool, but at the same time, it's like, Jesus Christ. So I'm going to go to Starport Services. You don't have to enter the hangar if you don't want to. Starport Services is where you get your missions and stuff. Again, this is very tricky. Now, I've got 15,000 credits, which ain't shit in the game, but at least I can refuel and repair what hull damage I had. Now, the shipyard and outfitting. The outfitting, let me show you a little bit about this. So, they're going to make you go in the hangar for this, but this is how you buy things for your ship and do things for your ship. And, this is kind of the way it is. So it's just really important to like, you got to build up your money. It takes a long time. It's a very, very slow grind game. Very similar to Rebel Galaxy in a way, because in Rebel Galaxy it's kind of a slow grind. But if you want to, like, these are your hard points. You can you can see what they've got. Everything's kind of on loan. They don't really have. You can change things out. Utility mounts. This is external equipment. So let's say I go to empty. I can browse the shop. There's chaff launchers, ECMs, heat sink launchers, shield boosters. It's kind of neat that you can buy those. Core internal. This is this is stuff that you can buy. So let's say sensor suite. You can get a bigger fuel tank. So life support, browse shop. There's different types of life support, so it gives you different things. I think that's cool. Store empty. These are well, actually, let me go to here. Again, I don't like the fact these liveries cost real money. I think it's a shame that they did it that way. I think that was really just, I don't know. I really wish they had not done that, and I think it'd been much better of a boon if I could color my ship without spending my real honest to God money. I really hate that. That's just something that I feel like they should not have done. You can change your bulkheads here, which of course I can't afford any of this stuff. Again, it's too early in the game for me to be able to buy stuff. But yeah, but this is where you get your stuff. These are just still pictures. It just basically says, good to have you, Dalton Gateway, Commander Juiceman 3941. Our economy is currently booting Juiceman 3941, so I hope you have plenty to trade. They use your gamer tag for your name. You can play a female pilot. It's done at the very beginning of the game. But if I go to General Services, so let's say there's the commodities market. Now, not every station has this. There's a lot of stations that don't. They don't have a market to where you can buy stuff like foods and consumer items, things like that. It's great if you want to buy something, and much as similar to anything else. Like hydrogen fuel is used in the high power system from ship drive to weapons. They have a lot of supply. It's 110 credits. So let's say I want to click on it. I can buy a bunch and then see, but I can only, as you can see, I can only carry 4. And then I'd have to go somewhere and sell it. If they had a commodities market, you don't know if they do. So it's a real, you gotta have to kind of figure it out, exactly what you're trying to do. And I do like the fact the economy's in real time. Most of these games have that. That's kind of nice. I go to mission board. Now again, Passenger Lounge gives you missions. I'm going to show you that real quick. So Passenger Lounge are people who want you to take them somewhere. Someone wants you to take them on a sightseeing adventure. And again, because you may not have, I don't really have the space to do a lot of this. It's kind of nice. These are just people hanging around. I mean, it sucks they don't talk. There's just still shots. But it's kind of nice that they do give you things. Like this person's going to give you 4 million credits, but you're going to be going all over the daggone galaxy and scanning stuff, doing stuff. The main mission board is given out by the factions. And again, there's some things that's kind of funny. Like, like, and again, unless you know your ship, you might accept the mission and you can't complete it. Now this says that it wants you to go 7.36 light years away, help the cooperative by delivering 2 units of wine, 71,968 credits, commodities for reps. So if I do this and hit enter, I hit X, it tells you your recommended rank, which I'm penniless, so I can do it. I get some articulation motors, small increase in rep and influence, wants me to go to 7.36 light years away. And it does say hostile ships may be sent against you. Mission failure could lead to a fine. Kind of sucks if you get a fine. Before you accept, you can open your galaxy map and see if there's a safe route there. That's very important to check that. Don't accept nothing in this game unless you check it. So when I'm looking at it, I'm looking at my star map. It says I can go to, it looks like I can go there. It looks like I can. And again, sometimes the star map's a little hard to read. Sometimes it's best to kind of like just zoom out a little bit where there's less going on the screen and just kind of see. Okay, I'm going to click off that. It wants me to go to Commanda. Again, I want to open the galaxy map again because, again, I want to make sure that I can do this because I don't want to accept the mission and then get screwed over and I can't do nothing about it. So there is Commanda. So if I select it and hit save, cool, there's a clear route. That's important because if the route's not clear, you have to go about a different alternative way of doing it, and it can be a pain in the ass. And again, I just want to stress that if you love spacing sims, this is not for a beginner. And even me, and I don't consider myself necessarily a beginner because I've played a lot of spacing sims. I remember having a Dreamcast years ago, way back in the year 2000, and having a Star Lancer, which was made by people named Freelancer. I've played what's the game on the original games on PlayStation, which I used to play a lot of, which was Colony Wars, which was more of a combat spacing sim, but it was really a lot of fun. And I've always loved those type of games. I just love it. Or even playing Jaeger on the original Xbox, which was a highly underrated game. That was a sort of planetary. You're on a planet, not in space, but you are on. It was a sim, and I love those type of games. And again, it's very important to before you accept something that that you're doing exactly what you need to do. Here's your transactions. And see, I hit accept, but it didn't show up. See, that's one of the problems I have with the game. Sometimes you'll accept a mission and it doesn't show up on your mission like you accepted it. Sometimes you got to go back into it. You got to find it again. All right, so now it's a total, it's 3 units of liquor. I hit accept, and then you got to, okay, so you got to go back. It's in the same area, and you got to make sure that that's on there. See, here we go. 3 units of liquor. Make sure, I think I've already charted the course. And again, you hit accept, and sometimes it won't accept. It's really weird. It's a little bug in the game that drives me nuts. But there we go. It's already like selected a safe and plotted course. So now we get to launch. I'm going to launch back out into space and do this mission. But anyway, the game can be frustrating at first, and understanding its systems because it does not tell you anything. It very much is like Dark Souls or Bloodborne or Lords of the Fallen or The Surge in that regard, that you have to kind of figure things out on your own. It's very, very important to understand that. So we're gonna go up here. And again, you don't want to crash into the system. I'm gonna go ahead and retract my gear. I'm gonna go ahead and fly the hell out of here. Again, this is very important to understand that this is not a game that you can just buy, pick up and play and like, wow, I'm exploring, I got all this, I'm making money, I'm doing all this stuff. You can't do any of that. None of that is in this game like that. It really doesn't quite work that way. And that's very important for anyone jumping into this game. I want you all to understand that while it's fun, it can be frustrating. The first couple of hours in particular, I was going like, wow, I cannot believe that this game has just put me into that kind of situation where I'm like, I don't even know what the hell I'm supposed to be doing, and that's very, very difficult. But again, your HUD is so important. You see your radar here, but off to the side there, that little planetary marker, that's going to help you find your target system. That's really, really critical and key, that you follow this stuff and looking at your HUD. It's so important to look at your HUD. Let me show you the ship, like the camera stuff I was talking about. This is your back, and again, this is, you can't really, there is a free camera mode that lets you kind of like look around. It's in real time, lets you zoom in on stuff, but if you want to, this allows you to, that will allow you to, like, if you want to zoom way back and play it kind of like that, you can. See what I mean? But it's really, really difficult to, like, I actually didn't know you could zoom all the way out. But anyway, it's very, very difficult to do that. But one of the, and I like that camera. That camera is just cool. How you're just flying around doing your thing. I think that's neat. I love that, even though it really wouldn't be conducive to, like, the lighting's excellent to really playing the game. So I just do this. Oh crap, now I gotta get out of this camera mode. Let me do this. No. Gotta get out of this mode here. Oh yes, you gotta do this and go back to your ship. So again, I'm going to charge up my warp drive and go ahead and continue on to the next galaxy. Second star to the right, straight on the morning. Mr. Spock. This is Elite Dangerous. Anyway, gamers, I'm not going to take up too much of your time. I've almost been talking for a freaking hour, which is insane, that I've been doing that, but there you have it. No, you cannot pause the game when you're warping. I'm going to wait till I warp out of here so I don't hit this star that's going to put me right up against. That's something I really wish they wouldn't do. I don't know why they do that, because if you don't stop right into that, it's going to put you right into that path of that thing. And that's kind of a pain in the ass. You can name systems, by the way, that you find, very similar to No Man's Sky. You can name things, and your name will be associated with it. So that's kind of cool too. One of the aspects of the game I like. Now here's another thing I just kind of want to point out. You got to find this next, like, waypoint, obviously. So again, you got to really pay attention to that little bitty map next to your radar, or you'll have a hard time trying to figure this stuff out. Anyway, gamers, thanks you for joining me for this Elite Dangerous talking about it game. I do really like the game. It will take you a couple hours to acclimate to it, absolutely, unless you've already been playing the Elite series for a long time. That would be my suggestion. If you're going to buy this game and you're a first time player, just be patient and give it a chance. It's actually really cool, and for $30 it really can't be beat. There is solo play, by the way, but the problem with solo play is that you're still online. I really am disappointed that you have to be connected online to play this game. It kind of sucks. I really wish you could just play it offline. All the spacing sims I own, you can. But there you go. It is what it is. Thank you, gamers, for joining me. This has been episode 48 of the Gaming Roundtable. Please, thank you for joining me, pulling up a chair if you're able, having this beer with me has been joyous. Cheers to you guys. And remember, I am the Juice Man. I am telling you, I am the guy that tells you the way it is. And as always, gamers, good gaming.